Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're just going to quickly be going over the tier list for the best legends in Season 14 of Apex thus far. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. So, first one we got here is Ashe, and honestly, I'm going to put Ashe down at C tier legend. Just one thing to note, I didn't make an F tier because I don't think any legend is particularly like an F, like completely useless, but some are just, you know, better than others, obviously. And we're gonna have Ashe down here in C tier. I think she could be sort of viable in rank just because she does have decent movement, but I just think her tack is so weak. And then, I mean, I guess the passive's pretty decent for Kings Canyon with all the third parties, but still just kind of a weaker character. I'm gonna leave her down at C tier. As for Bangalore here, I'm actually gonna bump her up to B tier because of that same thing that I was just saying about the smoke, about the third parties. I think the smoke is so useful for getting away and retreating away from third parties, or for like isolating your own fight, so it's harder for other people to third party you while you're fighting. Yeah, so I think Bangalore B tier could be very useful. As for Bloodhound, I think Bloodhound also is going to go in B for me, just because I think Seer is so much better. Otherwise I'd put him in A, but Bloodhound's gonna go in B just because, high B I'd say, because especially if you pair him with Bangalore, just being able to see through the smoke, and then obviously the scannability is so important here on Kings Canyon with third parties and all that. So definitely a good legend. As for Caustic coming up next, I think I'm gonna put Caustic in A tier simply because of just how overpowered his gas is. Like, it's really hard to knock Caustic off of being viable. I think you could basically always run a Caustic, like no matter what, and it would work for you. That's what I would say about Caustic. Moving on to Crypto here. Crypto's an interesting one because if you run Crypto properly, I mean, you can do some serious damage, and you can watch over third parties, and you can just be very versatile with Crypto and get a lot of information. So Crypto could be an A tier legend, but I'm actually going to stick him in B just because it's such a niche character and you never really know when to use him properly or how to, or at least I haven't figured it out, and I think it's a very difficult character to use and maximize his usefulness. So for that reason, it's going to be in B tier. As for Fuse here, I'm actually also going to stick Fuse in B, low B, I'll say for Fuse, just because, I don't know, like, his grenades they're good, but there's such a specific time to use him and use the grenades, and I don't know, I feel like there's just better characters you could run, and it's kind of hard to fit him into a kit. He doesn't have any movement. He's basically all lethal, all attack, all full tilt all the time, and that can make him difficult to fit into a comp. But if you were going to fit Fuse into a comp, you might want to do it with Horizon, who I'm going to pop in A tier. I just think Horizon's vertical movement for an entire team is so useful, and if you're running Horizon maybe with a Caustic or a Fuse, you have the ability to move them, not just yourself. And then I just think her ult's very useful for fights, and she's got good escapability if she needs to get away quick, and just a decent kit overall. I think Horizon's very versatile, so that's going to land her in A tier. Next up we got Loba, kind of the same deal. I'm going to pop her in A tier as well, I think for this season especially. The less Lobas you see, the better, just because you get more of a loot pool, but I feel like sometimes it's so hard to loot with this zone that's coming in now, just because it comes so quickly. So having a Loba, just being able to get loot on the go whenever you can, is so useful, especially for ammo purposes and things like that. So I think Loba's a good legend to run here, especially with her movement as well. I'll introduce a comp with her a little bit later. As for Mad Maggie, I really thought Mad Maggie was going to be meta, but I'm going to stick her in B tier. Could be good in niche situations, but destroys Gibby bubble, but no one even plays Gibby. So yeah, she was probably the biggest letdown of the legends that got buffed. I really thought she might be meta, but it doesn't look like she's terrible. You know, she could definitely be viable in the right comp, but definitely not one of the upper tier legends, I'd say. And speaking of not being one of the upper tier legends, we got Mirage, who's still stuck in D tier. Just not a good kit at all. Really just needs a buff in multiple different aspects of his kit, including his tactical and his ultimate, I believe. So yeah, just kind of a disappointment with Mirage that they still haven't buffed him. But Newcastle has gotten some insane buffs this season, which is going to elevate him immediately to S tier for me. He's almost like a must-have on your squad. I've been running Newcastle a lot recently, or at least my squad mates have, and we've been just rolling with him. He's so effective with his revive shield and just his portable cover. Just everything he does is so team-based and just helps out in multiple different areas. So Newcastle just a must-have, and I really think that he's probably a top 3 legend right now. As for Octane here, honestly, I'm just going to stick him in B. He's just, you know, he's got a little bit more viability this season with the jump pad, just for like third partying and stuff, but nothing really changed with him, just kind of a middle of the pack legend in my opinion. As for Rampart, not really useful in ranked. I just don't think that she has enough in her kit to make her really viable. I'm gonna stick her in C. I guess, you know, I've been saying this for a while that Rampart is 1 or 2 small tweaks away from just being one of the better meta legends, but I'm not exactly sure what that is, so I'm gonna stick her in C. Same with Revenant. I just don't think you're gonna be running him very often. I think his passive's kind of useless for King's Canyon maybe, and I don't know, just his ultimate ability is very niche. Sometimes you don't even want to use the totem. So, you know, Revenant's just kind of probably one of the lowest pick rates in the game, same as Rampart. As for Seer here, one of the highest pick rates in the game. Seer's S tier, absolutely, especially for identifying third parties and where people are on King's Canyon. It's crucial. Just being able to cancel heals, revives, things like that. He's so useful and easily S tier. I think he's also a top 3, top 2 legend in the game. As for Valk here, I think Valk is still in the A tier. I'm gonna put her like kind of like middle A, I guess. Valk got nerfed in basically every aspect, her passive, tac, and ult, and I still think that she's one of the stronger legends. Obviously her ultimate ability, being able to Valkyl, is, you know, very, very strong and for repositioning and things like that. So Valk still very important to a team, but I definitely don't think she's as strong. She used to be the undoubted top legend. I don't think she's that anymore, but still very strong. As for Watson, I think Watson is probably B tier. I'd say upper B, because she's still useful for, you know, blocking nades and ultimate abilities like that. But I don't know, I just sort of prefer Caustic to Watson. But with the right comp, I think Watson could be very effective. So she's probably one of the better legends in the game still. As for Wraith, I don't think Wraith has very good usability in ranked, but for pubs she's useful. I'm gonna put her in upper B. Obviously doesn't do much for the team. I guess you could portal people out and things like that, but I don't know, just not very viable in ranked, and that's kind of more what I'm geared to in this particular talk. But you know, Wraith, just, you know, the sweaty Wraiths are gonna be probably in the comment section going crazy, but that's just my opinion. High B. As for Vantage, I'm gonna do something maybe I shouldn't do, but I'm gonna stick her in S tier right now. I have been playing Vantage this whole season, and honestly, I think she's so fun to play, and then I also think she has very good comp opportunities with other top tier legends such as Newcastle. I think vaulting ahead with Vantage's tactical ability and getting on a roof and then having the Newcastle ult on top of her is just so important for like positioning for your team and where you want to be in fights, and using that comp put together because her tactical is so good at getting to hard to reach places, and then just getting the Newcastle to ult on her, and then maybe having your third player be a Loba who could just ring to that spot is just such an advantage. That's kind of the comp we've been running, which is Loba, Vantage, Newcastle. So I think that's a great comp to run. And yeah, Vantage, just her sniper is really overpowered. I think the tactical ability you get so often, and it's so fast for movement that I think that she is honestly an S tier legend at the current state of her. As for Pathfinder, I'm gonna stick him in C tier. Just not enough from him. I really love playing him in pubs especially, but not a very strong character at the moment. As for Gibby here, I'm gonna stick Gibby in A tier still. I think Gibby's still very viable, even though Maggie has sort of taken away some of his viability because she can destroy the Gibby bubble, and I think Newcastle's sort of surpassed Gibby as that like fortified anchor defense legend at this point because of all the buffs he's gotten. But I think Gibby, if you want to run Gibby, I feel like you can't really go wrong. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of Maggies running around. I think you'll be fine if you have a Gibby. I don't think there'll be Maggies or Cryptos everywhere. So, and then the last one here, Lifeline, I'm gonna stick in D tier. It doesn't really do anything better than Newcastle does in terms of reviving. I think she needs a few major buffs. Same with Mirage. So sad to see these two on bottom tier, but that's just how it is. And that's going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think down below, and definitely subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. We're getting there. So subscribing would be much appreciated. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys. I'll catch you in the next one, and peace.